Hello and welcome to Chatz, a television podcast, the TV book club hosted by two best friends. This is season 18, Toon Couch, Toon Madness. What's zanier than trying to pick our next chat season from a huge pile of 64 different animated series? Well, the series themselves, of course. And then I sort of look up at the moon and like a sweet song plays. And then Alan's like nude, floating, transparent in front of the screen. So picture that happening. My name is
Picture me nude.
Magellan. Picture you have to do it. And if this podcast works, sign them up as a believer in God. It's Alan.
I'm so glad you latched onto one of the more quirky lines of these episodes. Good evening, everybody. I believe strongly that we should be gay and do crimes. And basically that's what these shows that we watch today are all about, if you think about it. And we needed some extra brain power today to help us think about it, right, Magellan?
We did. So we had to bring in someone who doesn't care that it's bad manners to eat and drive. It's 6.
I believe in a sign of Zeta. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah! That's not the show that we're watching today, though.
No, not so. So this is fun. Folks who are longtime Chats listeners may be like, this piece of shit again. Hi. Usually my gimmick is to be wildly unqualified, and today I'm hyper overqualified.
That's true. Yep.
You are a professor attending a 101 course.
This is the funniest thing about what you've done here, right? Is that, I mean, you've watched, one show that's not related to this continuum that we'll talk about, and then you've watched Gundam sophomore year in high school, and then you've watched Gundam junior year in college, and then you've watched Gundam post grad.
Yeah. Did I plan that when I picked the 4? Perhaps. We'll have to find out. These do represent the 4 collegiate stages of Gundam, if you think about it. That's true.
Including not Gundam, you included 0. I really respect that.
Yeah, for those people who don't choose to go to college. They went to trade school instead.
So I guess in this metaphor, I watched like 3 episodes of First Gundam and then dropped out.
Yeah, it's like a college dropout situation. Yes.
Sure.
John, you want to tell folks what's going on?
Yes. So here on Toon Couch, Toon Madness, we're watching a bunch of animated series to figure out which one's going to be the next season of our program. Right now, you're joining us in our division phase, where we've grouped series into groups of 8, and we're trying to winnow those groups of 8 down to 1 apiece. So our last 2 weeks, we were looking at some Cartoon Network shows. This week, we're moving on to our second division, which is all about mecha anime. And we, for today, watched an episode of 4 of the 8 possible mecha anime series that could win this division. They were After War Gundam X, Mobile Suit Gundam, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, and Turn A Gundam. That's them in alphabetical order, but we're going to talk about them in chronological order in today's program. But first, maybe 6, we should give folks a rundown of your bona fides. You're joining us from Scanline Media, longtime friend of the show. What's your Gundam deal or whatever?
So I think my foundations are fairly similar to Alan's, which is that I encountered Gundam Wing as a child here in the United States, and then for a long time I was like, that's cool, and that was kind of that. And then in my 20s, some point in there, I was like, wait, what if I just got really serious about Gundam? And then I just watched a ton of Gundam, and I run a Gundam podcast every week.
Nice. That's amazing. And give us the name of the Gundam podcast.
So it's called Mechanista NG. It's a sort of a play on a very late in the series show called Reconquista NG, where we basically we're crazy to the point we don't talk about the shows. That's for casuals. With all due respect, casual is good. It's a compliment, really. What we do is we look at the designs of the robots and we sort of analyze them from that sort of critical perspective. So
awesome. That's sick. And Alan 6 alluded to it there, but you're a bit of a Gundamnista yourself, no?
Yeah, sort of by proxy, because as mentioned, I watched a lot of Wing as a kid. I would have been wearing my Gundam Wing shirt today for the video version, but it's at my parents' house. That'll come up on a later episode, I'm sure. that show really imprinted on me, even though, again, I didn't like think about it critically too much. And then I think a lot of us in the community got back into Gundam via the Great Gundam Project, which is an abnormal mapping podcast that started almost a decade ago. Help. A long time ago, where they cover every single Gundam show episode by episode. So they've done the work, and I want to give them their flowers for that. And that led to me watching all the way through everything. I stayed with them until, honestly, after War Gundam X is when I stopped like consistently watching with them. And then during the pandemic, Six and I and a bunch of our friends from Scanline Media would actually on Saturday mornings usually get on a Discord call and stream. And that's how I rewatched Mobile Suit Gundam through Turn A, but we skipped some stuff. We jumped around a lot too. So I've seen a lot of these at least twice, going into my third watch now, and I do have some pockets. Like I never finished After War, I never finished Macross, and I did finish everything else. I did finish Turn A and Mobile Suit Gundam. So I'm around the block. I've been around. I've never considered myself like a Turbo fan. I just appreciate it a lot. And it makes parts of my brain feel really good seeing robots do shit in a sad way. Also, yes, we've all, John, you and I both have our feelings on Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is very much a response to a lot of this stuff. So it's cool to see the baseline of what they were riffing on.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, I am coming into this with very minimal Mecha anime experience. I was trying to figure out like why did I never watch Gundam on like Toonami or something, and we can talk about this more maybe when we talk about Mobile Suit Gundam, the first show, but it was broadcast on Toonami in the summer of 2001, and then it was taken off of Toonami after 9/11, and so it wasn't on the places where I was watching anime around the time that I was watching anime. So this has been kind of a blind spot for me, but as Alan alluded to, one of my favorite anime and really series of all time is Neon Genesis Evangelion. So it was definitely trippy in watching Mobile Suit Gundam to be like, wait a minute, the protagonist has a dad who is nice to him and he likes being in the robot. This is weird. What a strange world we live in. But yeah, let's get into it. So we watched first. We'll talk about Mobile Suit Gundam, which is the series that started it all. The first episode here is called Gundam Rising. It was written by Hiroyuki Hoshiyama, directed by Shinya Sadamitsu, and the series creator Yoshiyuki Tomino. It aired on April 7th, 1979 on the Nagoya Broadcasting Network. Alan, what happened in Gundam Rising?
Getting right into it in this episode, 9 months into the 1-year war, teenager Amuro Ray is thrust into battle during a Zeon attack on Side 7. And after discovering the Gundam's manual and suffering personal loss, pilots the prototype modal suit to repel the invading Zaku.
Okay, I have a question for both of you. There's a lot of Gundam.
Yeah.
This is the first thing.
Yes.
If someone was like, I'm willing to watch a bunch of stuff,
here's the question.
Where do I start? Do they start here?
Here is the best place to start. I think you're allowed to do other places, right? Like there are people who have really strong feelings. There are folks who are like, when I see anime that is from before 2000, I physically bleed and die. And in that case, I guess you're allowed to do something else. But like really, this is the best place to start. The show holds up and everyone is riffing on it. Everyone is doing like interpretations and plays on its stuff throughout the rest of Gundam.
Yeah, you just kind of have to. And one piece of like controversial advice that I also agree with is, while there are 3 movies that seek to condense this series into like cinematic chunks, into 3-act chunks, I don't recommend those as your first attempt to watch the series, because they're, 1, a little bit too fast, and 2, they cut out a lot of the important stuff. Like I think we don't get a lot of it in this one, but First Gundam, or Mobile Suit Gundam, or 0079, depending on what you want to call it, is kind of a hangout show in parts, and I think there's a lot of value in like seeing them do little tasks and go on little small missions, and the movies completely excise that for in favor of like the big fights that get them to where they're going to be. So I think it looks good, and you have to accept that you're watching an old show and it has some problems, but like this is where you start. 6, what was it like revisiting the first episode of Suit Gundam after all these years?
So a lot of it I remembered, right? A lot of it was like, yeah, okay. But there are some plot details that I was like, I didn't remember how avoidable all of this was, right? There are some beats where characters say things and you're like, wait, was that always true? Did they led the Zeon here? What? Hang on. Like, because in memory, the start of the show lives as this terrible tragedy that happens because of a series of bad decisions and consequences, and coincidences. And the realization is very few of them were coincidences. The other stuff is all true, but a lot of people made bad decisions for this show to come apart in any universe. That is, in reality, of course, any animation ever releasing is a miracle of human effort. But
true. Yeah, lots of like, you really start to pick at this one and you're like, who's at fault here? And, with like the spectrum of like having seen War Gundam, you realize how much of it is systemic, which I think is like something that's so fun for me watching these shows, is that you start watching them and you're like, oh, it's the tragedy of personal circumstance. And it's like, it's also the tragedy of systemic circumstance. And I don't want to like sound too academic about like, the first episode of the show, but I think that stuff is super interesting. And like, that's the meat to chew on when you're watching a show like this is, okay, this kid is kind of enjoying what's going on, but like what made him the way he is? Amare is a very complicated, weird figure. And it's so interesting just seeing him from day one in his undies trying to fix a computer.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying about systemic issues. I think that's helping me realize like, what to me is the intriguing core fantasy or idea that I pulled out of these, which is like you have a young person who, through their eyes, we encounter kind of like the state of the world, and it's messy and bad. There's conflict that has happened and is going to happen. And in our own lives, in the face of those things, we probably feel kind of small and feel like, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to live through that or what I'm supposed to do about that. And then in like the last beat of the episode, oh, well, you could find a giant robot that makes you big enough to fight systemic problems. And it was intriguing to see each of these shows kind of have that same thing of, okay, well, we're going to realize your agency and your desire for a different world by putting you in a big robot, but the systemic issues varied show to show.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I think first Gundam also, I forgot how much this episode almost sympathizes with some of the Zeon grunt soldiers too, because I think it makes that moment when Amuro cuts them down like really pretty sad. They're I forget the name of the is it Jean is the soldier who's like, I just want to be like Char, and like one of us needs to do the thing, one of us needs to get out there and do the attack, and as soon as he gets out there he gets just absolutely obliterated by a child. And it's like there are characters on both sides of this conflict who want to quote unquote have their dream come true, but in the field of military conflict that's really sad and doesn't end well for anybody involved. It's not cool to like go out there and try to be like Char. That's like a really sad, and also, as we'll see, Char himself kind of a sad hero as well. I thought that was super interesting. I forgot how much this episode like characterizes the Zeon soldiers.
And also the Zaku's, right? There are hostile robots in this one, because the animation of especially these first episodes where the Zaku's are like doing like military hand signals and like cowering when there are gunshots and stuff. It's wild.
Yeah, why does the suit have a programmed in like cower button? How does that? Someone chose to do that, right?
Yeah.
Even ripping when Amuro rips the breathing mask off of one of them. It's this
my
again,
gosh.
like Evangelion invented nothing. You're like, whoa, violence against the machine feels like violence against a person. This is like scary.
Mhm.
And he goes, Sugoi, which like is also like, that's remarkable, but also the way kids would say like, that was awesome. And you're like, hey, Amuro. I think since I was also watching First Gundam feels like that scene in Interstellar where Matthew McConaughey's behind the bookcase and he's like screaming at his daughter to like not mess up the timeline, but she's gonna mess it up either way. You're like, no, don't like, you're not supposed to like this. No, you're gonna be okay. He's gonna do it again. That's what it feels like going back.
Yeah, the greatest trick the Gundam ever pulled was convincing you it could fix anything.
Yeah. What else did we find interesting? I love seeing my boy Bright Noah, the most competent 19-year-old of all time. Mr. Bright.
That?
He's like the teenage
Mr.
boy.
Bright.
Yeah, you got it, 6.
So he's the officer on the ship that we're introduced to, who like talks to Amuro's dad a bit, and then at the end he's giving some orders. He becomes a big deal as the show goes on, but mostly in this episode, he's an avenue for Amuro's dad to really ironically be like, well, don't worry, once we invent the Gundam, kids won't fight wars anymore, when he invents the putting kids in the robot machine.
Bright is one of the more interesting characters.
A dummy.
Truly. Yeah, what's the line in that scene? Temre is like, I heard that they're putting kids in the machine. Is that true? And Bright's like, yeah, I heard that. I also heard.
Yeah,
neither.
Yep.
They're so disconnected from some of the conflict that they're both like, yeah, I also read that in the news. And it's like, you guys, you're the guys though. You can't be distanced from your own shit. That's crazy. That's how you cope with it, I guess. So love Bright, of course. But John, what else did you enjoy about the episode or want to talk about?
Yeah, I think the way that the aesthetic of the show supports what we're kind of pulling out of this, because the opening credits and like the music, it all kind of felt like I was watching an animated propaganda poster. Like, we're going to be such an amazing country. We're going to have these cool space age mechs, and it's all going to be like happy and fun. And then you get into the episode and it's like your mom blew up and you're screaming in the middle of a battlefield and you know, oh, look out, your dad, oh, you're gonna get sucked into space. It's like messy and scary and violent. And I think the contrast there between the kind of like wrapper of the show and also the pieces within the show that relate to that, like the design of the Gundam itself. You look at this thing and you're like, wow, this is the most like kind of perfected human form as a giant robot thing, in contrast with the surroundings and the situations that it's in. It made me appreciate that, like, in some ways I won't refer to Evangelion too much for the rest of the episode, but it is like directly speaking to this show and this pilot. And in some ways Evangelion's like, wasn't Gundam weird? But in some ways Gundam is already saying that, and Evangelion's just like exaggerating the things that this show is already creating that feeling of unease about. And I thought that was really cool.
I mean, if you think about it, I think one of the like little mistakes that gets made with the show, if you want to call it that, is that the opening narration is delivered by a guy whose voice is so smooth that you can kind of like glide right over what he's saying when he says people lived in fear of their own actions, and you're like, oh, jeez, like half of humanity has died in the course of a month because people have discovered that when we go to war, true war with the tools we have these days, there's no limit to how inhumane we'll be. Anyway, here's the cool Gundam in a gold and red and blue.
And it's got a laser sword. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. It's great that you're getting there within one episode. I'm like, I guess we don't have to watch the show anymore because John got it.
I think we're pretty much good here.
If you're like,
So
oh wait,
you wanna, yeah,
we can just
you
move
wanna
on,
do like
right?
G Gundam or
Yeah. They fight for their country in that one. It's cool. They do kung fu in the mobile suits. Yeah, exactly though, Magellan. Like, this show is already commenting on itself. It's already a treatise on like the tragedies of war, right? It's about that.
And I can imagine how, like, probably what Evangelion was doing is kind of similar to like Frank Herbert when he wrote Dune, and everyone came out of reading Dune like Paul Atreides is awesome. I love that
Yeah.
guy.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
Frank Herbert's like, fuck, okay, sequel to Dune. Paul Atreides was bad. I need to be clear about that. You
Yes.
understood my book wrong. I can imagine that people probably watch Gundam and were like, "Oh my god, this is so
I want to
sick.
be in a
I wish
robot."
I was a Gundam fighting guy."
Mhm.
Which is like tricky because the show, like, you do want to, and that's part of the point is like y- these kind of like violent wrongs that humanity can stumble into are not going to be self-evidently evil. They're going to
Right.
look sick as hell. And we have to be like disciplined and conscientious. Otherwise, we're going to make like the coolest world destroying weapons you've ever seen. And they're going to be sick. And then we're going to blow ourselves up.
Eventually, they're gonna want to sell you this back to you as a kid.
Yeah.
Eventually. So yeah, I think you basically hit the nail on the head. I also noted that this episode, this is a problem with all of these episodes, is that they end and you're like, there could have been a part 2. I wanted like a little more, but they leave you wanting. They give you just enough setup, and I think each of them does a different job of like how much they set up the world, or if they were too early in the setup. Like some of these shows, I think don't finish the setup for the series. I think mostly Gundam's pilot is like, yeah, I get it. I don't like see everybody on the white base yet. I don't see Char doing his first major attack or like what Char's whole storyline is about yet. But like I see him. I'm aware that there's a guy with a white mask that looks kind of cool. So it does do a good job of just giving you like a sample plate of here's everyone you're gonna get to know over the next X episodes.
And there's a little robot, orb robot.
Haru's the best. Haru's the freaking mascot of the company.
Haru's cute.
I watched some of this episode in English, and Haru's English voice, I'm so sorry to the voice actor, not great. Because half the point is it's supposed to be like, Haru, it's supposed to sound robotic, but a little bit human, like kind of cute. And then the English voice just sounds too human. It does not do a good job sounding robotic. IMO.
Hello, my name is Haru. Amuro, It's great to see you again.
Amuro, put some fucking pants on. Jesus. Any stray notes, or shall we move on?
Let's move on, I think, to the next one.
I do want to note two things real quick. One is I think the speed running trauma of like the Gundam, like he gets his first like kill, right? He kills Azaku and he therefore kills the person in it. And in the process, it blows up the nuclear reactor in this thing and blows out the side of the colony. And so immediately he has to fight another person. And he can't just be like, all right, I have to destroy this other robot. He has to be like, all right, I have to specifically murder the person or this is going to get even worse. So that's, yeah, they just want this boy to be suffering as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And then for each of these shows, I am going to want to shout out the Mecha designer who is in charge. A lot of these shows have multiple, but there's usually a primary. And of course, for 0079, for Mobile Suit Gundam, it is the GOAT. It is Kunio Okawara, Mr. Gundam, the guy who's designed a ton of things across all of Gundam and is just one of the most iconic mecha designers of all time.
I mean, yeah, that blue and red and white. I wonder what that's about, pointing to its resemblance to certain flags and I don't know.
Magellan actually may not know the classic goof, which is a goof just because it's funny to say, not because it's untrue. Originally, Gundam as a term was invented because it's a portmanteau of gun and freedom.
Oh, there you go.
Something to think about. Something to think about. 6, do you remember Love?
Do I ever?
I think it's time to move on to our second show. Magellan, you want to introduce this one?
Yeah, so the second show we watched is not in the Gundam meta verse, meta
Universe.
series. Well, but it's multiple
The problem is there's a show called Gundam Build Metaverse, so you got to be careful.
Oh, got it. Okay.
God.
It's not a show with Gundam in the title. It is Super Dimension Fortress Macross. And we watched
Yes.
episode 1, Booby Trap, which was written by Kenichi Matsuzaki, directed by Fumihiko Takayama. It aired on October 3rd, 1982 on the Mainichi Broadcasting System. Alan, what happened in Booby Trap?
Let's get right the hell into it. After a mysterious alien ship crash lands on Earth and sparks a decade of global conflict, humanity's rebuilt Macross inadvertently triggers a war with the giant alien Centrati when its main cannon fires on an approaching spacecraft during its launch ceremony. Whoa!
Okay, so here's a question I have contextually. We have Mobile Suit Gundam in 1979. To what extent is the mecha genre like an established genre, and then Mobile Suit Gundam is like the first like big classic good one, versus it's like trailblazing a genre? Because I'm trying to situate Macross in relation to that.
So the breakdown, I mean, mecha anime had been around for a little while at the point that Mobile Suit Gundam comes out. The distinction that really gets made, the one that people draw, and you'll have to bear with us for terminology a bit here, but people talk about the difference between, quote, super robots and real robots. Now, when we say real robot, we don't mean real robot because you can't build a Gundam. Square cube law makes that impossible, right?
Mhm.
But
That's not what I like to hear, Six.
I know, it's a real bummer. Except for also really good because those things are terrible. But super robot stuff is well and popular at this time. You have a bunch of, like earlier stuff. You have like my brain is completely blanking at the moment, which is really helpful. But you have a number of 70s and even some 60s shows that are about like, here's this robot that is basically a superhero, right? That has like
We got
that they shout like, finger fire, and they shoot flamethrowers from their fingers, and they're like heaven's sword, and a sword falls from the sky, and they're doing all this superhero stuff. And Gundam was the first one of note to really be like, hey, what if we treated these machines like they needed to make mechanical sense, and also that they were horrible.
Right.
And
Real
sick,
robot.
but horrible.
And it sounds like with that is this idea of like, well, there needs to be an institution that would build this and like have the resources to build this.
Extremely
cool.
good
That's
point,
helpful.
because a lot of super robot stuff, especially the earlier stuff, is like, well, I was left this machine by my father, my late father, who built this machine for me to fight crime. And there is not this idea in like Mazinger Z or Getter Robo of like the government has a program. That's not an idea.
Okay, that's helpful. So Macross is kind of like following suit with Gundam of, okay, let's do this mecha show where there's some like real world consequences or context for this thing existing, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I think specifically Macross is really interested both in that and trying to bring in like a lot of stuff from a show called Space Battleship Yamato, which it's really directly riffing on. And then, some like just, listen, the designer on this one, Shoji Kawamori, really likes fighter jets. Maybe you can tell.
Yeah, we don't see any mobile suits or big robots in this episode. We do see a lot of fighter jets.
But you do see one robot at the very end, because you learn at the very end that, in fact, most of those planes are secretly also robots.
Mobile suit. You are robots. Yeah, you're right. That's
Nice.
so good.
That's awesome. Sick.
Should we have put Space Battleship Yamato on? No, that's so
No,
old.
it's a very interesting show. And I think it's a lot better than a lot of the other stuff that creator made, but you can get the idea here.
Okay, good to know. I said earlier, I have some history with Macross. I tried watching it with GGP, and then I fell off. And Six and I were talking about it last night. I think it has a weird middle part that sags, and a lot of these shows have that, where like they get their premise out, and you're like, whoa, what a cool idea, and then just like stuff putters around. But like everything I've read about where Macross goes, I'm like, whoa, they really swung for the fences with this one. And it's kind of about different stuff, right? It's not just like about sad. Like this boy is not sad and full of tragedy yet. He's kind of just like, yeah, I'm good at being a fighter pilot, and I like want to help my country. That it's so interesting flipping and seeing a protagonist who's like happy to be at his job, and so far it doesn't seem to go bad for him yet.
Before we talk about the content of the show, I was so intrigued reading about, because I was like, okay, I was all up on the Toonami wiki with Mobile Suit Gundam, and then was looking at Macross and the way that it first made it to the US, which was as part of like a cobbling together of multiple anime in just a series called Robotech, because like they wanted to bring Macross over but didn't have enough episodes for syndication. So it's like, well, we'll just redub it with a different plot and like make it part of this other thing, which is like kind of a side point. But imagine trying to explain that to someone younger than us who is growing up in a time where like you can access media from other countries and you don't have like intermediary decision makers who are like, we'll chop it up and do it this way and dub it that way.
I mean, it's a very similar story to Power Rangers, right? Which is chopping up and representation of the Super Sentai series. I think there are a lot of people who have some bad things to say about, Saban, the guy who is sort of responsible for Power Rangers.
Well, literal war criminal. I'm Saban.
Yeah, literal war criminal. Yeah, death merchant. But despite his literal real world violent crimes, indirectly, still not the same level of contempt that people speak of Harmony Gold with, the folks behind Robotech.
Yeah, that's you can watch a couple of video essays about Harmony Gold and how much they ruined perfectly good shows and then made it impossible to access them just for money reasons.
It's fascinating to me.
So yeah, a lot of young, or like you said, or even like older than us, Americans who were aware that Macross existed had no way to watch it for a while. They're like, I'm sure there's an original show, but I only know Robotech. That's what Macross is to me.
I mean, obviously, we also watched Robotech and just sort of inferred what the original show was like because it's currently illegal to watch Macross in the United States.
Yeah, you're going to jail for watching this, Majan.
There is no legal release of this show. There was for 3 years between 2010 and 2013, and Harmony Gold got it taken down and banned again.
Whoa, that is wild.
They are like knives out to stop this show from being released on its own merits.
That's awful.
Yeah.
So weird.
And it's like a harmless show, right? You watch it and you're like, oh yeah, this is like fire pilots and there's a big ship and it's about diplomacy, funnily enough. It's about like listening to the other side and like finding common ground and like, enjoying things.
The power
together.
of love and song.
The power of love and music. Yeah. That's going to come later, but the show does involve a lot of music. It's interesting. Like watch I think when I watch Macross, I see so much of what it's going to become in this first episode. And I'm like, man, I want to watch all of Macross finally. This like show feels so up my alley. It's under reliance on like big robot punchy and over reliance on characters talking to each other and listening. And I was like, what a concept. These characters can just like be adults and listen to each other. Do you feel like do you remember watching Macross for the first time, Six? Did you enjoy it? Did you like enjoy where it went, I guess?
I had a good time with it. I think like I really like it's been long enough that I don't remember how much I liked it because I was watching it at a complicated time in my life, and
Yeah.
as I, as is often the case, your real world, context sort of pollutes your experience. But I
Mhm.
remember being really impressed with both. Like, it didn't try and go like grim in the way that Gundam often goes, but
Right.
also was really mature about a lot of things. Like, I'm gonna like very minorly spoil a thing vaguely, which is
Mhm.
like the Hikaru, our main character, meets a girl and they fall in love and they get in a relationship. And later in the show, they just sort of realize, like, you know what? We were in a bad situation and we found each other and that was nice. And we've grown apart. That's okay. And we have other relationships
Mhm.
now. And it's just like, holy shit, that's just extremely mature of you.
Nuanced.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. Also, even just like sticking to this first episode, God, Macross looks good. The other thing about watching these episodes in this order is that we got 70s
Yeah.
anime, extremely 80s anime, and then extremely 90s
Mhm.
anime in one afternoon. And this is like what anime looked like in the 80s, and I can't get enough of it. The
It's just
expressiveness,
incredible.
It's beautiful, yeah.
the line work, the voice acting, the music. Are you kidding me? Is this, I'm assuming, Michelle, when you texted me and you said anime rocks or something?
I think I was watching this, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a
Yeah,
flex
there's
show.
such great communication of scale in this show. Like when the alien ships are coming towards Earth, and one of them like passes by the camera, and
Hmm.
we spend like 15 seconds with this big ship flying past us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just it looks really cool and communicates sort of a grandeur and power to like these explosions, like that beam that's like, and then it looks great.
And that's another beat of that, right? Is like, so the Macross like has is an alien ship that they've rebuilt and it has some systems they don't
Hmm.
understand, and it automatically like opens itself up and fires its main cannon at these arriving ships and
Hmm.
evaporates like 3 or 4 of them. And the commander's response to that is like, "Oh, okay, that's what I expected." Like, not even upset, because that's the scale we're dealing with. Is they have so many ships that seeing 3 of these massive battleships that take up the entire screen for half a minute is like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah, I got 3 of
Hmm.
them. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is Macross, like it has like a zooming out of scale over time that I absolutely adore. Where it starts and it's like, here's Hikaru, here's a plane, here is okay, here's a Macross. We zoom out one level. Here's the Zentradi fleet. You're like, oh my god, we're like in a cosmic expanse that I was not aware of when we started the episode. We're handling a lot, and that's why I was like, the show has not really showed its hand yet. It's like not even done
Mm.
explaining the full premise.
Uh, Alan is being like evasive and cute about an element of scale that's a very fun moment to realize.
Yeah. It's a cool show. It's got cool
Mhm.
ideas coming.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and it does. This first episode does an amazing job of developing the character relationships alongside the world building stuff. I love the time that we spend in the control room at the beginning. I mean, it's a bunch of women talking about like a guy or going on a date or whatever, but we get to learn their personalities and the way they relate to each other. And uh, there's a lot of moments in this episode where people are clumsy or make
Mhm.
little mistakes, like when the fighter captain guy, the cool older guy who yells at the kid, Major Fucker or whatever his name is. What's
Major
his
Fokker,
name?
Fucker.
but yeah, it's Meet
Fokker.
the Fokkers.
Meet the Fockers. When he's like fumbling with the mic stand and trying to put it back together.
And he accidentally
Um,
like puts it back together on the cable, and so the noise cuts out for the next bit. And he's just normal
yeah.
So
voice.
good.
Or the moment where Captain Global is like gonna smoke his pipe, and then the one woman is like, "You're not allowed to smoke in here," and he's like, I knew that. I was just holding it."
I was
there's
obviously just holding it.
there's just all these little moments of very kind of human, um, yeah, just like clumsiness and mistake making that it feels very welcome in a show that's also like and we are being attacked by this armada of giant ships,
Yeah.
because it communicates to you as a viewer, like those two things are equally important, at least, which is cool.
Cool is the name of the game with Macross. Yeah. It's just sick. Do you? Mitchell, I noticed in your notes you said you're not a big fan of Hikaru out the gate.
I just don't like this archetype, like the fly boy. I'm a hotshot who's good at this, and I I like to break the rules, and I don't care. But what I do like about him is that he um he calls Major Fokker a war criminal or a murderer, and
Yeah.
that was nice. Like he's explicitly like, it's cool to fly planes. It's not cool to shoot people in planes. Like that's lame and dumb.
Yeah.
I fly planes because it's sick. So that I thought was interesting. But he was just not the character I was the most invested in.
It's such a funny line that I forgot when he gets like hit and he's going down and he's in a spiral and he's like, no, I told myself I would die trying to do a stunt like my dad. It's like, wow, okay.
That's his
your
last
goal
words,
was to
almost.
like fuck up a barrel roll, huh?
That was a cooler way to die.
It's funny.
Yeah, and then episode 2 teases us the introduction of Lin Minmay, one of the best women characters in this era, I think. I'd love her.
Yeah.
I love Minmay. Also, live action jump scare in the credits. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was scared.
Wow.
Not my favorite credit sequence of these 4. All of them have good credit sequences. You know, Mobile Suit Gundam has, you know, the like ode to Amuro song, which is adorable and cute. And then this one is somebody flipping open a real life picture book with character like Lin Minmay and our boy, and you're like, they filmed this in the 80s, like with a camera. They made this. Why? I love it.
It's such a strange choice.
Truly. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see more. I think this is an excellent first episode.
Yeah. I have just a couple quick notes. I mean, I think it's a really fascinating setting, this city that sprung up around the wreckage of the Macross, and we do the 10-year fast forward to really establish this place. I just think that's a great setting.
You're gonna love what they do with it.
Okay, great.
Almost all these episodes have like, so a thing happened and then the show starts, and like years went by and then the show starts, which I think kind of taps into, you know, general existential fears in Japan around like nuclear war and things like that. Like, what does the society rebuilding after a tragic event look like? Definitely a cool connecting theme.
And also a part of what the space guys seem to care about is when they get shot out with the Earth missiles and the missiles blow up, they're like, wait a minute, are those reaction weapons? Which I'm assuming means that they don't have like nuclear technology. And they're like, oh shoot, these guys have.
But they seem aware of it. They're like, we don't, like, the implication is like, we don't have nukes, but we know what nukes are, and the presence of nukes indicates something about this society.
Yeah, and I like that dynamic where it's not just we're a super advanced, you know, outer space species or people that's going to crush you, because they acknowledge like, oh, this is a technology that's so far in our technological past that we have forgotten it. Like, we don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Which shows that there's not quite like a linear relationship between, well, they're further in the tech tree, so they're better. There's like more nuance there.
With respect to Evangelion, one of my least favorite things in like anime and games of this sort is when it's like, oh, and here's this enemy, and literally only the robot can hurt it. Anything else bounces off. I find that deeply annoying.
Yeah.
Just gives us more power to the robot, which it didn't really need.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And there was Petite Cola. There's a petite.
Yeah.
Oh,
vending
yeah.
machine.
There's the Coke machine that when it hears someone asking for a Coke but being restrained by your big sister, drives
It
over
tries
to make
get
it
around
easier
them.
for you to get a Coke.
It's so good.
It's the best. Yeah, Gundam also will
capitalism,
eventually
baby.
will have a ton of these like signs with funny brands in the background. That's one of my favorite things about like original
got-
Gundam.
Yeah, first Gundam and the burger vending machine is very good.
Mm,
I love a burger vending machine.
burger.
Shall we take a break and come back?
Let's do it.
When we get back, we will be returning to discuss more Mecha, including After War Gundam X and Turn A Gundam. Back after this. Welcome back to Toon Couch, Toon Madness, the cartoon review bracket show podcast hosted by friends. I'm joined once again by my friend Magellan
Hello.
and my friend Six.
I
We're here to talk about more mecha anime, including After War Gundam X. In the break time, we transitioned from the 80s to the 90s, and it's time to talk about a show completely outside of the regular Gundam timeline. Magellan, care to set things up for us?
I would love to. We're watching After War Gundam X. You might be wondering, After War? There was another war? Yeah, there was. We're watching the first episode. Has the Moon Come Up? Written by Hiroyuki Kawasaki, directed by Shinji Takamatsu. Aired on April 9th, 1999 on TV Asahi. Wait, can I read the summary?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. In this episode, 15 years after a devastating space war, so that's the war, has left Earth in ruins, scavenger, do they say Garrod? Jared?
I think it's Garrett.
What's the mean?
Garrett.
Scavenger Garrett Rand becomes entangled in a mission to rescue a mysterious girl and inadvertently acquires the powerful Gundam X, setting him on a collision course with forces far larger than himself. What do we think of After War Gundam X?
In this episode, this is so refreshing to me. I think when you watch like all of the Gundam stuff in order, you get here and you're like, what the fuck? Because After War Gundam X comes after the success of Gundam Wing and like the beginning of the rise of Gundam in the US. So, you know, the show is starting to blow up, or not actually, it hadn't really hit the US yet, but it was like Gundam Wing was very successful in Japan. And then this comes out and you're like, wait, different showrunner, similar ideas, but like there's something just very mysterious and interesting about it. And at its core, it's a show about like post-apocalyptic survival and what it's like to find your community in that. So it's like it starts to paint a picture of mecha as less of a specific genre and more as a framework within to tell genre stories. And I'm very fond of it. I had my problems with it the first time I watched it, but I felt like I was home when I watched this pilot again.
It's also just so extremely funny to watch this in the same sitting as watching First Gundam, because it's like you watched the first episode of Mobile Suit Gundam, a 43 episode show, because it does get canceled and ends early. By the way, these are the only two Gundam shows that get canceled, is Mobile Suit Gundam and After War Gundam X. So funny coincidence there. Don't worry, they have proper endings. They're just forced to speed up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you have watched, like, you've taken your first day of this class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in the next day and the teacher's like, all right, sit down, you little assholes. All of you misunderstood the lesson. And I'm like, I haven't even had the lesson yet. You're yelling at me for misunderstanding a show I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you yelling at
because
me?
extremely after War Gundam X, you'll notice in the created, it's credited to Yoshiyuki Tomino, who's on everything Gundam, and then Hajime Yatate. Hajime Yatate is not a person.
Hmm?
Hajime Yatate is a pseudonym used by members of the Sunrise Animation staff. It's kind of a pun, basically. That's sort of, it's like from an old quote from a poem, but kind of can be translated to mean my first time writing. It is sort of an amalgam of a bunch of folks on the staff working, and basically it is like Socrates' friend Jeff yelling at you for misunderstanding what Socrates said.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, there are characters in this that are like very thinly veiled parallels to like what if the characters from Gundam were older?
Very thinly. I mean, the opening is just like, it is showing how the 1 Year War, which is the big conflict from Mobile Suit Gundam, went, and giving it an alternate worse ending.
Yeah.
And then being like, all right, and then 15 years passed, and maybe someone you saw on screen is basically supposed to be Amuro Ray, all depressed because the war went bad.
It's like, wait, but we used to fight wars. I want to like use robots to fight wars. What are you talking about? We don't need them anymore. We blew each other up. What the fuck? What about the wars?
But you don't have to worry about that. You just worry about good boy Garrett Rand.
Never did anything wrong.
Yeah, I love this opening. The show being like, look, fuckers, all of the space colonies fell and killed like 9 billion people. Okay? Yeah. It was so bad. Can we make the show we want to make now?
You see the Earth from space, and it's like a map of the continents, like had a kid with a block of Swiss cheese. It's like, good God, this looks bad.
Yeah.
The opening basically being like they were revolutionaries who left, and then they built up this military force, and they threatened to drop a colony, and then the space police used mobile suits and thought they stopped them, but that actually just aggravated things, and then they dropped all the colonies, which is sort of like you took something that happens in Mobile Suit Gundam and literally hit the multiply by 100 button. You're like, oh, that's very bad. And then the show goes, and then 15 years passed. It's so cool in 90s. God. And Garrett Rand follows the trend of later, like second and third, especially Gundam series, having like really likable, like I don't give a fuck protagonists. I love Garrett. I think he's one of the best of the era. He's just so, because the thing is, the Gundam Wing characters are aloof, but they like sometimes have a code of ethics. Garrett Rand is just like, I just want to make money and like take care of my friends and family. I don't care about a war or a robot. I just want to do my thing. Why are you making me fight, bro? That's immediately.
Yeah, and I love the moment where he's talking to the glasses guy, who we learn later is not so nice. And that guy's like, oh man, you must really know how to fly these Gundams, huh? And Garrett's like, are you stupid? Like, if you get in one of those things, people are gonna try to kill you from inside of it to take it from you. He says, pilot one of those things and you'll need way more than 9 lives. And then he like goes to say something else, like, but they're cool, or like he kind of starts another sentence and then he's like, nah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
It starts out with the guy being like, it just seems like a real waste to sell that thing. And he's like, waste? No, I got a really good price for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you did, but it does other stuff other than make you money. It's like, I don't care. That's not relevant to me. Yeah, it's a world where they kept the mobile suits from the war, but they're not useful. They're not being used to fight wars anymore. They're used by bandits to like rob people, or they're sold for scrap parts. It's a commodity now. The mobile suit has become a commodity. I'm a big fan of
this
that.
is like a good version of the way that they try to set up Rey in The Force Awakens, where she's like a scavenger of like broken down Star Destroyers on the desert planet. And you're like, that's a cool idea. And then they proceed to just make a movie that doesn't understand what that image means. But this, I really like how the show recontextualizes the Gundams and what it means to see one, to see a
Mhm.
mobile suit show up, where it's like, oh, that's some fucker in there who's like here to kill me for what I have on me.
Right.
I
It's
really
power
like
armor
that
from
dynamic.
Fallout.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It becomes power armor from Fallout, exactly.
Garrett, though, best protagonist because he doesn't need to use like military weaponry yet. He pulls out a glass bottle and a pistol, and that's how he takes a mobile suit. He throws a bottle at it and then aims a gun at the guy and says, "Give me your shit." That's so good. So good. Scavenging, right? As we are introduced to the scavenger faction, who what I like also about this first episode is we are setting up villains and heroes and then swapping them by the end of the episode. Like Rika, or whatever the guy's name is, the glasses guy, he's like, "I need you to rescue this girl, Tifa." And he's like, "Okay, I'm a nice person, so I'm gonna do that." And then as soon as he's about to hand her off, he's like, "Hey, you look weird. You don't seem very nice." And meanwhile, we see the scavengers, who we were told are like evil. They're like scavengers, like people who steal stuff. And you're like, this looks like a crew of like cool women and men that who like hang out and do.
Yeah, they look awesome. Actually,
that looks like the crew that we're gonna join in the show at some point. It's anime rules, right? They all have like really clear outlines and defined characteristics. You're like, are they they can't be the villains, can they? I don't think so. And then Garrett and Tifa getting away on the dune buggy. The escape sequence, he says, "Tifa, I believe in God," because he successfully gets out. I think there's a lot of great stuff in this pilot, and then the way it ends kind of like pissed me off, because I think it's another example of like the thing that they do in the show isn't in the first episode, because he talks about seeing them.
It's kind of infuriating. I do think this is kind of shitty of them, that it's like ending a wrestling match when someone like makes a gesture that as a fan is like, oh, they're gonna do their finisher. But if you don't know that, you're just like, he did a weird gesture and then the episode ended. Like, no, you can't do that. That's
You're about
not
to
okay.
do the thing. You're about to do the thing that the thing does. What the fuck? Because like everybody stops. We're introduced to these two handsome guys who again look like older Gundam protagonists. You're like, what show are you guys from? And they're like, yes. They're both smiling like, here, the thing is about to happen. And Garrett's like, the moon is here. Let's see what the moon's going on with the moon. I have the mobile suit. End of episode. You're like, bruh, I can't. I need this episode.
Fair.
I need
Not
more.
fair.
Not fair. This show needs to move on just so we can see what that is. Also, the best credits of any show that we watched.
Oh yeah, the ending song, "The Human Touch" by Joe Jackson. That's nice.
Oh my god, the 90s. That's some shit I'm
nice.
listening to at 3 a.m. on like an infomercial. I'm like, what is this? This is so calming and nice. It's a wonderful. Just this show is so of its time. I love everything about that. I think the 90s are so fun.
I gotta mine Magellan's mind a bit here.
Please.
What do you think is going on with Tifa and with their talk about people with weird powers and all the stuff that gets introduced in like the last 10 episodes of the first Gundam show?
Yeah.
Oh, this is like a thing that's like a world
thing. This show is about how people watched Mobile Suit Gundam and there was a big idea that I got introduced and everyone took it the wrong way and now they're yelling at them and you don't know what the big idea is.
Okay. Yeah, she's like clairvoyant or something. It's like I've been waiting for you. I'm having dreams. Da da da. She can swerve the car out of the way when they're about to get blasted. I don't know what that's all about. She's kind of given me, this feels like a very classic anime or even sci-fi archetype of like wayfish quiet girl who has the sort of like world significant power in her brain.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I don't know. It seems like everybody wants a slice of whatever that is, and it's dangerous. And I'm curious what else is going on, but it's not. They didn't make it super clear like what I'm supposed to have stake in with regard to her, other than I don't want an innocent person to be like captured by bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you go on, it could be really interesting because I think it does work on that angle. But like they're playing it very straight because they are referencing something more complicated. And it could be really interesting to hear a perspective on the show where Alan is watching the show being like, oh yeah, no, this really interacts with all this stuff in a really interesting way. And you are extremely fairly like, I don't know, it's the psychic girl. I've seen an anime.
Is she is she a robot or something? Like, is that what we're doing?
No, she's just
No,
chill.
she's just chill. Great.
She just takes edibles, She's
Okay.
relaxed.
It's like Spice. She's taking the spice. She can do mental calculations, kind of thing.
She's a
Sure,
mentat.
yeah, no,
She's a mentat.
yeah.
Mentat.
Well,
Okay.
that's a different thing, isn't it? It's like the navigators use the spice.
Oh,
I don't actually go here. I just remember things, and then I hate myself for remembering them.
That is true, though. The navigators use the spice.
Damn. I'm the one who read the book. Fuck y'all.
I read it too. I just didn't like it.
That's fair. Totally fair. I loved it. Yeah, very 90s. Other notes. Yeah, I think this setup is fascinating, and the show as a response to Gundam and how it becomes almost more like, to me, the middle of the show had the vibe of like Sequest DSV, where it's like,
yeah.
It's
well,
the
there's
90s.
especially one part that's like, oh, okay, I see. Okay.
Okay, you guys want to save the planet. It's like in that way, the 90s are like, we're gonna fix everything. Let's just like work really hard and we can like fix a broken world together. Wouldn't that be nice?
It makes the ending so funny. Oh, the ending is.
I'm so sad I never finished this fucking show. I know you told me, you were like, Alan, right after you stopped watching is when like everything pops off, and I'm like, I have to get back there though. I don't remember anything.
Fair. So it goes sometimes.
Maybe someday. Magellan, final thoughts?
I also like.
Oh yeah, 6. Go ahead.
I do like the way, just broadly, like in these early stuff, especially Garrett really like subverts the myth of the mobile suit, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like these big impossible war machines, and he's like, "Bro, it's a vehicle with a door. Open the door and point a gun at the guy." Like, "Oh, nice warship. I'm gonna slip on board and pick your locks." Like, there's still basic points of mechanical failure, man.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Magellan?
This is the first of these shows we watched today that have some annoying, like, oh no, the girl just came out of the shower. Oh, I almost saw up her towel. It's like, okay, whatever. So that was dumb.
It's something that the franchise dips in and out of. It's either like illegally horny or honestly more often just like hating women or treating women like they don't deserve agency, or that their agency is based in their biology, which but at least in this it's just like, I'm gonna look up a skirt, and you're like, no, don't, can you not? Okay. It has been worse historically. I will say that the next show is like a pretty chaste show sexually for a lot of it, but as a result does deal more with gender identity stuff. It in ways we'll talk about. Okay,
let's talk about it.
This is Turn A Gundam, our final show tonight that we're discussing. We watched episode 1. It's called Howl at the Moon. It was written by franchise creator Yoshiyuki Tomino and directed by Tetsuya Watanabe. It aired April. Oops, that's not correct at all. Actually, After War Gundam X was not April 1999. I got the dates wrong. I'm so sorry. That was.
I did forget to say, Kunio Okawara and Junya Ishigaki as our Mecha designers for After War Gundam X.
Perfect.
So,
After War Gundam X is April 96. Turn A Gundam is April 99. There we go.
Got it. Okay.
It aired on Fuji TV. And Magellan, can you tell me what happens in Turn A Gundam?
I would love to.
No, truly, can you?
Yeah, can you try?
Yeah, basically fall down into sort of a safari Victorian North America. Everybody's cool, go to school, Pride and Prejudice. Okay. In this episode, Moonrace scout Lauren Sayhawk.
Yep.
Is that?
Nailed it.
Okay. Sayhawk descends to Earth on a reconnaissance mission, falls in love with the planet and its people, and unknowingly finds himself at the center of tensions between Earth and the returning lunar settlers.
This show's so cool. bubbling with power and potential. What could possibly be going on? Six, do you want to give some context for Turn A Gundam and where it exists in the franchise?
Yeah, so Turn A, like, Tomino is a guy who really wears his politics on his sleeve, the series creator. And I like the original Gundam is created because he read a book about space colonies and how good they would be for humanity. And he's like, I'm going to get millions of dollars so I can make a show about how stupid and wrong you are. Really strong, like, angry radical socialist, right? And he has over time delivered that message to varying degrees of effectiveness depending on how mad or patient he's feeling at the moment. And Turn A is really a moment of him trying to take a step back and look at Gundam and be like, all right, what am I trying to say? What do I want people to understand? And what like parts of this am I getting distracted by the Gundamness of it all and not connecting with people? I think is a lot of what Turn A is about. He like rethinks a lot of the designers. I've been talking about these, mecha designers like Kunio Wara, Junya Ishigaki, Shoji Kawamori, because this one, some of those folks work on this, but primarily Turn A Gundam is Sid Mead, noted like American futurist, because it's like, let's really left turn. The music here, which is incredible, is largely done by Yoko Kanno, who is a, famous, artist, does a lot of anime stuff, really likes working in like multiple languages. And it's really an attempt to take Gundam and be like, don't get distracted by the fact that it's sci-fi. This is about people.
It's like his most character focused work because it sets up its ensemble and like makes the mystery about them, not about like, well, when and how do we use the mobile suits? It's like people use mobile suits, right? People who have reasons, who have like dreams and aspirations use mobile suits, not like ideology uses mobile suits, which is like where the Gundam kind of started to fall into sometimes.
Some of his most embarrassing quotes are talking about this show, where this thought process did lead to a better show and better writing. But he was like, so I thought about like, what if I wrote a woman as a main character? And I was like, hang on, they're people.
But John, where did you land with this? How did you feel about it?
I thought that this show was really interesting and cool. I did have to, along the side, be like, okay, what's happening, to understand like we're from the moon, we're scouting to see if the moon people can come back to Earth. Okay, that makes sense. That's all I need. Also, this is like so far in a retro future. Great. Awesome. I eat that shit for breakfast. Like, yes, please. And well, once you know that that's what's going on, you end up being set up for a really fascinating story where you have these outsider characters, including our main character, Lauren, who come to Earth and ingratiate themselves into Earth society in like inconspicuous ways, which was another thing that I appreciated about it. It's like Lauren is a miner and a chauffeur for these rich people. Frandal is works at the newspaper printing place. Keith is a baker. Like, can we just be normal and live normal little lives here on Earth?
Yeah,
is such a fun setup. And to start in this place of joy of like, you know what? There's probably some, because the other Gundam shows started in a place of more kind of stark cynicism, or like something is bad or wrong here. And Turn A Gundam, those things are present. Like there's clearly this kind of socioeconomic stratification. There's clearly this world is industrializing in a way that's doing the things that industrial capitalism does. So you can tell things are off, but you're seeing it through the eyes of a character who's just so happy to be here. And it's like, man, water feels good. Birds are awesome. I have such great friends. Wow. And there's something really refreshing about that because you know just how much that's going to get fucked up by like bad things starting to happen. So this is the one that I think I was the most, it's hard to quantify, but kind of the most intrigued of like what's going to happen to these protagonists when the illusion shatters and they have to deal with like some real stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of based in some real ideas too, right? Like we brought all these kids in a way. It's commenting on Gundam as a franchise. That's something that Turn A is known for doing because it's a 20th anniversary show. We brought all these kids to Earth from the moon because we thought, like, okay, maybe we can learn about their culture and decide if the moon people want to come join. How can that possibly go bad? Well, what happens often when we send delegates to other countries? Well, sometimes we do that because we're trying to make good decisions. Sometimes we're trying to make colonization decisions. And do those kids know that? No, we just tell them, like, go ingratiate yourselves, be part of the culture, work for them, eat with them. And so there's that loss of innocence, I think, works. And like Magellan, you said earlier that you struggled to like figure out what was going on in this episode. And I think part of that is because in this episode, at least, it feels like the protagonist, aka the POV character, is actually Sochie, not Laurent. Like Laurent is there and he is our protagonist, but we don't know what he's doing until the last like 10 minutes when she sees it. And then you're like, oh, and now she's chasing him, and the episode kind of flips the camera back and goes, okay, no, this is his show, but it's playing with your expectations. So it reminds me, no one has ever made this comparison before. It reminds me of the pilot of Modern Family, where you're like, there are all these families who all have their own drama. Why is the show called Modern? Oh, they are related to each other. And I think that was so clever that like that show has its problems, but like the way that its pilot reminds you what it's about at the very last part is similar to this, where it's like, oh no, it's always been the Laurent show, but he's not who we're not in his shoes for the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, this episode could be the pilot to like a much more grounded slice of life thing that isn't Gundam at all. If you just chop off like the first couple minutes and the last couple minutes, and it's like there's this kid who's coming to town to work for the mine and gets attacked by a wolf and then skinny dips and almost drowns, and these nice rich people take him in, and now he's going to go with them to school, and that's the show. Like that could be what it is. And then this pilot puts the wrapper around it of like, but this kid is from space, and that's a thing, and there's a big ship in the ground, and that's a thing, and we'll see you next week. I like that as kind of an introduction to the series.
And it's also like, some interesting things going on with like, it's a comparison that gets overused, but the middle of this episode could be mistaken for some Studio Ghibli stuff, right? It has that same like fixation on like, okay, young kids and like, industrial revolution and like, wholesome nature and the curious girl and all these ideas. And just knowing that the title Gundam is on it makes you be like, okay, but I can't, don't let me be taken in. And then there's also little, like just such little Tomino-isms, because this guy's such a weirdo. I love Tomino. And he makes constant just decisions when there's nothing happening, right? Like we're introduced to Lord Gwyn and he's like, oh, and Lord Gwyn, this is Laurent, and he's going to be, he's going to be our driver and he'll drive you around. And he's like, got it, Laura. And everyone's like, why is he calling him Laura? As a choice has been made, this is a thing. It's going to be a thing, but it's at the moment, it's just a bizarre pattern you notice of this guy getting his name wrong over and over. Or I got a little annoyed at the subtitles because both for this and for First Gundam, I didn't love the translations of them. With a lot of like clumsy sentence structure and stuff. Also, I really wish they subtitled stuff like the songs, like when they are like when Laurent is like, oh, they're having this festival. It's like the coming of age festival. And they're singing a song in the background and the lyrics are boys are boys, girls are girls, boys are boys, girls are girls. And you're like, okay, we're doing something here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Planting seeds. I
love the Gender is Real song.
Lord Gwyn, also complicated character. Like, are you mean? You're not evil. That's the coolest thing about Turn A to me is like early on, at least, you're like, who are the bad guys? We work with the rich people. Are they the bad guys? They don't seem to be. So Che's very nice. Her sister seems really pretty nice, relatively. I don't understand yet, and I like that they hold their cards close to their chest with this show. The Heim sisters. I'm gonna tell my kids this is time. Yeah, just lots of really good setup. It's a very setup heavy episode. That features an extended sequence of Laurent naked in a river, getting blown away trying to catch his little fish toy. And then it goes right into a coming of age ceremony. Like, again, if you thought that the show wasn't going to be like about bodies and gender and stuff, we're building the house. We're building the house brick by brick. Stray notes?
I think we got all my notes.
Anything else?
Turn A, the upside down A symbol, is used in mathematical contexts in logical expressions to denote that something is true for all cases of a thing. So what's up with that?
Universal truth.
Yeah.
My only two notes are just sort of things to think about, because obviously I've seen this show before, but like things to think about, things that could pass you by because there's a lot happening on screen and a lot being said. One is you get a moment during the festival where Laurent sees a big statue and says, "Is that the white doll?" Capital W, capital D. Interesting. Something happening there. And then also note that when Lord Gwyn is inviting Lady Keyhill to a party, she's like, "Oh, over at Bostonia Castle?"
Yeah, Boston mentioned, technically.
Bostonia.
Yeah. The relationship between...
Oh, I just remembered what you're saying. I just remembered what that means, 6. Oh my god.
Yeah, the relationship between the places that this show is set, the names of locations and what they mean, and our world are interesting.
Yeah. Cool show. Cool show. All right, we got to make a decision. John, you ready? Well, actually, how does this work with a guest?
Oh, I don't get to say shit.
I think 6 can make recommendations, but it's our decision probably.
Okay.
Would be
Let me play tiebreaker if you aren't sure. But like this is y'all.
Okay.
That's very considerate of you as a guest.
Should I flip the coin, Miguel?
I don't know if I'm decided in my soul yet about which one I want to take forward.
Are you between?
Do you know, Alan?
It's hard for me because I want to watch all of these. I'm between Macross and Gundam X. I'm definitely taking one of those two. I think I want to take Macross.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think I like Macross a lot. Gundam X and Turn A Gundam were both really intriguing to me, and I also sort of feel like maybe I haven't done enough of the background reading, like the homework, to fully get those shows. I mean, 6, what do you think about that, I guess? Like either of those, War Gundam X or Turn A Gundam, as like you've watched nothing else and you're starting with one of those.
I would say Turn A. I think After War Gundam X is more straightforward, but so much of what it's straightforward about is like responding to existing Gundam, and like a lot of what it's riffing on won't come through the same, and that's fine. It's watchable. You'll have a good time. But Turn A is like part of the way it's responding is by like, rather than making a response to a essay, it's like writing a new essay that tries to encompass the previous one.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. That's
Very
helpful.
well said.
All right, Alan, I'm ready for the coin flip.
Okay. Where did I just put it? All right, it's going on the screen. Call it, Miguel.
You be heads, I'll be tails.
Okay. So heads, I get to pick first. Tails, Miguel gets to pick first. Flip that coin. Yeah. It's tails.
I think I'm gonna go with Turn A Gundam. I thought it was cool. I want to see what's up with the moon.
What is up with the moon? I love that two of these shows featured moon stuff back to back. In fact, I really think I have to give it to Super Dimension Fortress Macross. I'm so intrigued to finally finish that show and see, from what I've heard, the interesting places it goes. I said, "Do you remember Love?" earlier. That's in reference to a really well-regarded movie in the Macross universe. So like lots to discuss there that would be cool to both of us. And getting to watch illegal media. Fuck Harmony Gold. Fuck Harmony Gold. Woo!
And I will say,
Okay,
you know,
cool.
you're putting After War Gundam X aside for now, but as they say themselves, the sort of like closing log line of the show, the moon will always be there. You can always go back.
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure. It's
and
on
I want
Tubi.
to. It's on Tubi.
It's
Okay,
literally on
great.
Tubi. You can watch it. It's on Fubo. It's on Bleepits.
It's on Bonk Bonk with ads.
Oh, I have a new soundboard button, by the way, per 6, actually, Magellan.
Okay,
First of all, I'll play your favorite.
thank you.
That.
That's a good one.
And then 6 recommended this one.
That's good.
Thank you.
It was loud, but it was good.
I'm sorry. I'll fix that.
It's okay.
What's next? Oh, we gotta talk about what we're watching next week.
Yes, so next week we're doing the other half of the Mecha anime division with Armored Trooper Vodums, Fang of the Sun Dugram, Pat Labor, and the Big O.
You guys really fucked up because it's all bangers.
I know it's gonna be the hardest one so far, easily. Do we watch the OVA of Pat Labor, or do we watch the series? Probably the series, right?
Yeah, that's just Pat later the TV. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I've never seen that. I've only seen the OVA and the movies, so that should be really exciting. I've never seen Dogram. What were the other ones? Wait, I want to know what I've seen.
Vodums and the Big O.
I've never watched Vodums, but I know the thing with Vodums, and someone who recommended it was like, I don't think you should watch it if you know the thing. And I was like, I don't care. I still want to watch it. It looks so cool.
I don't know the thing. So
That'd be great. Brilliant. There's not like one thing, to be clear. It's not like a thing you could Google and spoil. It's just like a
I don't know
idea.
anything.
Okay, brilliant. We'll be watching the first episode of all of those. Thank you so much, Six, for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find your work?
You can find me on social media. I'm six.scanlandmedia.com on Bluesky. And then you can find my work at scanlandmedia.com or patreon.com/scanlandmedia. I do too many podcasts.
Famously, we got you up early in the morning to do this one. So we appreciate you. Magellan, where can people find you online?
You can find me on another podcast I do with my friend Justin called Super Smash Echoes, where we play video games related to the Super Smash Brothers franchise. And we, I think as of this recording, will have just recently released a several-hour epic discussion of Kirby Air Riders, which I finally finished editing from when we did it like 6 months ago. So you can check that out. It's a sort of a 6-month look back at Kirby Air Riders on Super Smash Echoes. And then you can find me on Bluesky, not.magellan.bsky.social, and on Ghost, not-that-magellan.ghost.io. Alan, what about you?
I'm on Bluesky at A Ibrahim, AIBRAHIM. I'm also on a couple of Scanline Media shows, including The Creature Core, which I do at 6 here, talking about Pokemon. And we're working to bring back the Garnet Reacher at some point as well. So much in the Scanline Media pocket. I don't have any writing gigs yet. A person at a party last night was like, so now that you have more free time that you're not playing Pokemon, are you going to like take on another project? And I was like, please, no more projects, please. Help.
That person needs to go to sleep.
She doesn't sleep much. That's totally valid. I'll do the plug sound.
Okay.
You can email us questions, comments, concerns at chatzpod.gmail.com. We are Chatspod on Bluesky. We are Chatz, the television podcast on YouTube. We're 2 days after the audio episode. You can hear and see us on YouTube. And you can see our faces. You can see Six's PNG tuber, Magellan's Windjammer shirt, and my I forgot my Gundam shirt at home shirt on YouTube. Apple Podcasts and Spotify are where the algorithms work in our favor. Sometimes we find new listeners that way. And if you have the financial means, consider checking us out on Patreon, patreon.com/chatspod. $1, $3, and $5 a month gets you things added to our cup. Every month we pull from the cup and watch or do whatever you tell us. We have a whole backlog of things like commentaries and hangout pods. And also every month one of us picks something fun for us to do. So you get 2 bonus episodes a month at those different tiers. You also get a title on our Discord where we talk about TV shows and movies a lot. And $5 a month plus gets you everything I told you and a thank you at the end of every main feed episode. So thank you as of today to fiance of the podcast, Amanda, Arthur, Emily, Emrys, Felicia, Jen, Justin, girlfriend of the podcast, Kelly, Kyrie, Lee, Marcus, Magellan's mom, MP, Nick of the Brothers at Infinite War, Noel, Six, and Steph. Hi. Thank you for supporting Chatz. We appreciate you.
Sure. Anytime.
Our podcast art was done by Camilla. She's at Camilla Street on social media. And before we go home, we have one more final quick segment called Chatzums, where we each recommend something or some things for you to enjoy between now and next time. Six, you are our esteemed guest. Would you like to go first with your Chatsum this week?
I would be delighted. So I recently got one of those retro emulation handhelds, right? One of those nice little Android devices that lets you play old stuff really well.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of good stuff coming out of the experience. I think the number one thing I'm here to shout out to anyone and everyone who is okay holding a controller in their meat hands. Ape Escape 3. Man, what a game. Oh my God. Ape Escape is a great series about catching monkeys who have run away from a lab. And Ape Escape 3 is like, what if also you could turn into a cowgirl? It's so good.
Oh, cowgirl, baby.
This looks great.
Ape Escape's fantastic. I really love the intro of the game where they're like, pick your character. By the way, the sister is an idol on TV, and the little brother is like, wow, I wish I were as cool as you, sister. Anyway, now you can pick. My gosh, I wonder who I'm going to pick.
Also, the soundtrack is, instead of called original soundtrack, is called Ape Escape 3 Originape Soundtracks. That's really, really good. Yeah, I need to check this out. John, what about you? Chatsums?
Yeah, I've been doing something fun lately that I would recommend. If you, like me, you have a lot of trading cards, and many of them are, maybe you have a bunch of copies of the same one, or it's like you have a bunch of bulk, whatever.
Me looking ominously at my two huge boxes of bulk right off screen.
I've started, as I'm going through my collection, cards that are either like, well, I'm never going to use this, or it's like, I have 6 copies of this card. I don't need that. I've started adding them to a Sharpie cube. So with my magic cards, here's an example. I have many copies of the spell Sizzle, which is a spell that deals 3 damage to, I forget, because I Sharpied it out. And you can just kind of black out words and change what the cards do, and then create a whole format of your own with weird things. So now what Izzle does, Izzle deals 3 damage to you with fire. You fight everything. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good spell right there.
That's such a cool way to use your bulk. Just repurpose the cards.
Yeah, just Sharpie them out and make kind of fun stuff. Get other people to do it with you, and that's a fun game in and of itself. So that's what I would recommend. Make a Sharpie cube.
Yeah. I love that. That's so fun.
What about you, Alan?
I have a quick one. I always like doing my book club chatsums. I'm towards the end of How to Read a Book by Monica Wood, which is a really interesting multiple perspective novel about a sort of tragic incident that happened several years before the book started. Tell me if you've heard that concept before. It's basically Gundam, you know, except instead of a nuclear war, it's a car accident. And then it is about a woman who runs a prison library, one of the prisoners who gets out, and the husband of the person who she killed. And the way that they meet each other again in a bookstore. And it's about redemption and like the elderly and the young learning to reconcile their differences. And it's really sweet. I think it took me a while to get into it, but funnily enough, the book teaches you how to read it. And like, as you're getting into it, you realize that sort of like grief and tragedy are at the center of it, but it's like a really thoughtful character study of these people who've done like irrevocable harm to each other, but find ways to forgive each other. And that's How to Read a Book by Monica Wood. I am quite fond of it. I'm nearly at the end. I'm really into it. And that's it, folks. Thank you again to Six Demar for joining us for our Mecha discussion. We appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to do this.
Thanks for having me.
Always. You are always welcome here in the chair. Thank you to Magellan for being the Tifa to my Garrett, because you have special powers and I want to nurture that and, enable you to do things with your mind. And also I like driving
I
Goon
knew you were going to
Buggies.
say that.
What? Oh, thank you so much for
I
listening
knew it.
to Toon Couch, Toon Madness. Stay wacky.
Restart the clock.
God, no!